screen and you can share your screen. Yeah.
Sure. I don't think I have access to share.
Down below doesn't let you share?
Oh, yeah, got it.
There you go.
Cool. So hopefully the sound
No,
works.
that was number 4.
That's number 4?
Yeah, that one's number 4. Markup basics is number 2.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, here we're just on a straight heading. Too easy. So you just look at your survey plan. What's it say? 1 metre off the left wall, 4 metres off the right wall, 1.5 off the ground. 1 metre off the left of the laser, 4 metres off the right of the laser. Boom. Mark up your grid, start drilling.
Firing imminent. Firing complete.
Wasn't it meant to be straight? Yeah, no one asked you, Jack. What does Dan say? Just use the MineOps app. Stop talking, Jack. You don't even need reception.
Want to mark up straight cuts every time? Just use the MineOps app.
I'm a little bit disappointed. I didn't hear an expletive.
No, there's none.
I wanted to hear him say, "What the fuck, Jake?"
Yeah, but it's like I've got to put it to BHP and things like that.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good. I knew. What was no? The funniest ones was the "you dopey C." That's what he normally says.
All right, so this is the third one.
I like it. This is to everybody. This is the everyman version.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's up, Dan? What's up? Take a look up and all around. We've used more mesh than the dingo fence on your latest fillets attempt. Yeah, well, I had to make sure the loader would fit around this time. Fit? Mate, you get fit doing a few laps around this corner. You could play a game of AFL in here. Oh, yeah, I think it's nice. Good sense of space. Yeah, space is where your head was when you marked up this car. You got shares in this mesh and bolt supplier. Yeah, because it's just cost us triple in materials and time to pin down this ballroom. Did you use the MineOps app? Yeah, no, I didn't have reception. It works offline. Yeah, no, it is fillets. Too easy. Yeah, well, guess who's going to get filleted by upper management? Filleted? Is that like a pineapple but with fish? Just use the MineOps app. Need perfect fillets, cuz? Just use the MineOps app, bro.
I like that. That's cool. Yeah, bro.
No, this is the mistake in the first video that we don't have yet.
Okay.
Yeah, and this one is the last one.
So we spent a small fortune on mesh and bolts. Lost the whole day. Mate, your cut's as crooked as cricket. Next time, just follow the survey plan. I followed the plan and none of the numbers lined up, so I had to work it all out myself. Do I look like a mathematician to you? I suppose I do, actually. Yeah, so I just eyeballed it and hooked it half a metre left. No, I mean, just use your laser. I did. I measured off the laser. Maybe you should be talking to those survey mating cranium about their laser lines. Just use your head. Mate, I'm like the God Squad with these headings. Just about had enough of you, Dan. Just go and eat some more pies. Just let me do my job. Just do us all a favour and go and get a deep fried using the wonky drill again, are we? Why don't you just use the MineOps app? Just use the MineOps app. Yeah, just punch in the numbers, does all the maths for you. Follow the video, perfect every time, works offline and everything. Just joking, Dan. Jeez, don't be so sensitive. Just use the MineOps app. Links in the description.
So I think all of these videos, it's just use the MineOps app, works offline and everything. I think that's probably that's the heading of all of them, right? So it's sort of that's the heading of the video. Works offline is the kind of works offline and everything. So that's sort of I like that little quarter, that kind of chunky little bit. Works offline and everything. So Yeah, but they're great. They're so good. We knew they would be, right? So,
It's taken a long time coming.
yeah, but I wonder. So, what do they? So, instead of my opinion in terms of what's their opinion around
We're going to ask them as
how
well.
are they going to roll it out? Because there's probably enough in that to almost do month, right? If it's maybe you do your sort of January one and you just do it in January, right? And then you kind of the next one coming soon, right? So the next one's coming in February, and so maybe you don't hit it. So watching that, and particularly watching them in quick succession, you don't need four of them to sort of get four of the same understanding, right? Just having one and out there is going to immediately sort of be great for you guys, right? So just so you know, Sam, normally, most people would only do one, right? So you'd spend the money on one good video, and any one of those videos is great for your business, right? So the reality is probably just put the first one out, right? So just put the first one out as soon as you're good to go, and then work out when it's best to put the second one and the third one and the fourth one out, right? It's probably not going to be more than a month, but it may well be just a month at a time.
Yeah.
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 Yeah,
And so,
that's you don't want to overwhelm people because, like you said, it is like it's still the whole like comedic part of it, and like you don't lose it. And like we could put up. I don't know if their page would want to put up snippets because it is an ad, but we could like post a little bit of the video and be like, oh, coming soon, and maybe that would do something that would people would click on that. But maybe
well, certainly on the YouTube, you'd make it not in the heading, but you'd make it clear that it's part 1 of 4, right? So it's you'd just be sort of saying part 1 of the our mind, what is it? Whatever the Mind Boom series, So it's basically you just make sure that it's understood that it is a series, and but no one else is probably going to. In some ways, you kind of don't want to be too serious. In the way, they're just good videos, and so they're good advertising for you, perfect for your target audience. So yeah, I'd suss it out just how the first one goes, and then what we typically do is once the first one's gone, as I said, it's going to go like the clappers, right? So I find myself wanting to swear just because of the fact that they swear, but or they didn't swear.
I showed Olympic Dam and they weren't happy that they weren't wearing safety glasses, but the cartoonists refused to put safety glass on it because it's too hard to animate the eyes.
All right. Well, the only thing I'm disappointed is that he didn't say you're doping, because that's I think it's not often you can hear ads and you just go, that's actually. No one can really be offended by that use, right? So particularly knowing, I'm assuming it's it's anyway. And you spend more time down there than me, so you have a far closer understanding than I do, Joe. But I could just see them saying that quite a lot.
Yeah.
So anyway, I reckon what I was going to say is, so let's say for instance you decided, you're going to do a $6 a day, half to brand awareness, half to or whatever it is you choose to do. You might go $5, or, you might do a $10 a day and do 5 and 5, or whatever you think your budget is around it. But I would also suggest, because I guess a lot of your budget's gone to them and how their advertising works, right? As I said, I know on a $5 a day, we can probably get the same sort of amount, same sort of numbers to those audiences that what they would be getting organically, right? Just on a $5 a day spend. But I also would suggest to you they're too good to skimp on your advertising budget. You can always turn down. So what I would suggest maybe for the first one is you almost go a 5 plus 5. You do a $5 on your ad brand awareness. You do a $5 on your learn more. So in terms of getting traffic to the website, so they can actually find out about it. And then when the second one in the series comes along, you turn it down to 2 and 2, for instance, right? So you keep it going. So the series keeps going, but at that stage, that probably you've already had quite a lot of people seeing it, and then you start to get those impressions where Facebook does what they call machine learning, right? So it knows who's more interested than others, right? Who are the people that are clicking through the website? We've got the pixel sitting behind the website. It'll position it to the type, right? So if it's, in terms of our target audience, that sort of stuff. So my suggestion is have a budget in mind. Do your first one, you go slightly a little bit more heavy-handed maybe on your first one, knowing that you're going to turn it down when the second one comes along, right?
Yeah.
So as I said, maybe one way to think of it: do a $10 a day, turn it down to a $4, then do a $10 a day. Then with the third one, you're going to be doing the same thing. You're going to turn them all down to $4 ultimately. So that would mean you'd actually have four. You'll finish up having 4 ads running at potentially $4 a day. Or you could really you might also, what it'll be interesting to see is how the brand awareness, because it still has the website call to action, right? So whether people actually are learning more just on the brand awareness, it might be enough, right? So those flares will completely change what's happening at the moment, compared to, we've not been doing any advertising in any form, right, up until now, right? So it's all just kind of who already knows you that's been going to the website so far, or been attracted as a result of the post, as I said. And most of those posts are people that already know you, right?
Would we post on LinkedIn too?
You post it to everything. Yeah, why would you not? Yeah, it'd be silly not to. And I would actually think that you might want to use a still image as your cover photo across all the platforms too. So then you become the kind of that synergy that becomes really clear that, oh yeah, they're those fun guys that have the mining app.
Yeah.
So I would use a still image and you put it across all your channels. As I said, the first thing to do would be upload to YouTube. Yeah. So for us, there's that little bit more. I'd probably say it's probably about an hour. It's probably not much more than an hour's extra work, right? Really, if you're wanting us to do it, right? So our suggestion would be let us do it, right? Is that, but again, you can do it, but we'll just go and edit it. So again, anything that you want to do, if Sam's going to do it, as I said, the steps, Sam, would be upload it to YouTube first with the sort of copy that you're going to use. You'd have a heading, title, but then just tell us once you've done it, right? And then we can go and edit it. And certainly we won't put any money on it until we're happy that the posts read, because we've been taught to read posts even when they're video, right? So we still. The good thing is for your audience, they're going to very quickly watch these, right? So because when you do videos, vid views in itself is an engagement that they talk about. So I wouldn't do a vid views campaign, because it's obvious they're going to view this, right? So they're going to sit in there. What do they last? They're about 30 seconds, are they?
60.
Are they 60 seconds? That felt quicker. Okay, yeah. So I just use the traffic and the ad recall, and I reckon your vid views is going to be massive, because both campaigns are effectively vid view campaigns, but they're just using a slightly different. The objective is slightly different on them. It's not to get vid views; it's actually to get brand awareness and to get traffic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we'll have to talk to the guy to see kind of what he's thinking, because he might be like, I'm sure he'll be fine with us posting it, but he might be like, oh, we want it here at the same time as when you post it, or, we're just going to have to ask him that so we can figure that out. But would you, sorry, Joe, you go.
I was just going to say, on a completely different topic, given the time. So Sam has been playing around on Stabilize as well. You've probably seen more posts coming through.
Yeah.
So if you do have would he be better off doing, like you said, when he does write the post, just running them past you, or?
I no need to run it past us. No, I mean, there's nothing that Sam's doing that. When you're doing an organic post, it's really neither here nor there in any case, right? So as I said, I'm sure Sam can probably see it just as easy as me. It's not something that I go in and have a look at necessarily to see what ones are proving more effective. Sometimes I get surprised, right? So, I've said to you, Joe, around, putting too much text. It kind of does have an element of if we're doing posts and in a way we're doing sort of horse racing industry type porn type post. So if really you're just sort of sussing, if you're doing a heavily graphic image, it doesn't necessarily get a knock on the algorithm, right? So we're not going to do them because it's not part of our strategy. It takes us too long if we were going to do it and put them into a Canva and do all that sort of stuff. And in the past, it has been a knock on the algorithm to do anything that looks good on print. Generally tells people, at least this is what I tell all my clients, right? As soon as you put some graphic over the top, it says you're trying to sell them. And people hate being sold in their newsfeed, right? So it's not even about the algorithm. It's just about the fact that we don't like being sold to. Doesn't matter whether we like you or not. Doesn't matter if we're passionate about your brand. We're still not sure we want to buy off you in between seeing what Betty and Julie and John are doing in their newsfeed, our friends and family. You know what I mean? So generally our theory is, but to answer your question, I've not seen anything. If I really saw something that I kind of thought, oh, I don't like that, or I thought something could be benefited, I'd maybe tweak it a little bit because I can do that anyway, right? It's more the fact that when we're going to put any money on them. So if you put any money on, before you put any money on, just let me know, and that way I'll just give it a proof. And I'm happy. I'm happy to sit, just have 5 minutes. I do it every day virtually with the marketers, right? We're actually doing, we're doing all the clients. And so Sam becomes a pseudo Adrian, just because ultimately, yeah, we want it to work. You want to give you the best chance of, or not necessarily even work, but just work as best it can work, right?
Yeah.
And so, there's a few things that we've learned along the way just to make sure that we give you that best opportunity. But then sometimes, there might be just that time involvement that, as you said, it's a time you go off and do all the things that maybe takes you more time to do, and then just come to us just before we sort of flick the switch on the dollars and cents, right? Because clearly you're giving it a lot more assessment than we have time to do. Our sort of value proposition is around the fact that we're affordable, right? So most of our time is in the communication, not like an SEO business where it's in the reporting. Most of our businesses don't even read the report. The report's really done for us, so that we look at it and can tell people how well you're doing. Yeah, and believe me, Joe, we have like the most tradesman-like report. I'm reminded in a way like a Mine Apps, right? So we do the one pager. We give what we think is the bare minimum around, what how it's going. But largely it's more so that we can say, oh, Joe, you probably should think about doing some ads, or Joe, you probably should think about changing this, that sort of stuff, right? So, yeah.
In fairness, Olivia does a report every 2 weeks, so I read that one instead.
Yeah, right, there you go. Yeah, but that's okay. We know that because, ultimately we call ourselves Do It For You for a reason. But what I was going to say is, the reason we ask just to have that sort of final proofing when you're going to advertise is because literally after you guys, we do want you to succeed the next most, right? Because we figure if you succeed and it all works well then you'll say how great we are and we'll all be happy, right? So, we don't want people to not do the best and get the best out of our service. So that's mainly the reason. Yeah.
So Sam's actually gone through and created like a marketing campaign for both of the brands. Around, and we did a little strategy for each of the different types of socials. I don't know if it's worth flicking those through.
I think it's always good, yeah. And as you said, it makes a lot of sense. We've had that conversation. I'd put it, Sam. Now I've put it into that message thread. What you could do is just in Basecamp, just call it. Here's the strategic plan for that I've put together for and that's great. We've got a particular strategy that is web to social, but clearly your strategy is probably going to line up fairly close to that anyways. Just so if we know what you've got in mind, that's really helpful, right?
Yeah, sure.
And also you like, just because we've put it into like, be critical of it. No offense, Sam. we want it to like if there's suggestions or improvements or things you want to change, that's also like it's not set in stone.
Yeah, I think probably most of the time it's a bit like the questions you asked today that are good questions. It's probably just that little bit of feedback just to be able to say, maybe just do this a little bit or this a little bit. It's not really. I don't think it's necessarily going to be critical. It's just that sort of sense of maybe you could just think about this and this. But me and Adrian do get together at 9:00 every Monday. Once we get back to the 11th. So anytime, what we've said to all of our clients now, because I have sort of partnered up, I've got marketers for every project sort of thing. It'd be a bit different with Stabilize because I've got only got about 3 projects now I do by myself. All the rest I've kind of got someone holding hands with, right? So that a bit like you're doing here, Joe. And I find what's working really well is they really take ownership of it, of the projects that they're working on. But we also let people know that, hey, we meet every week. If you just want to jump on for 5 minutes and tell us anything that's different, or give us some feedback ourselves around stuff, then always feel free to jump on that one-to-one that Adrian and I have each week as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Cool.
No worries. This is good. So, yeah, basically from here, then what do you want to? You're just so at this stage. When do you reckon the first video you're gonna want to post?
I was told that I'd have the last video, which is actually the first video before Christmas.
Yeah.
But so the problem is the guy who's doing it is actually in Ireland, and then he's using the animations in Romania, and they're all in lockdown, and so that's why it's all taking a long time.
Yeah. So maybe what the best thing to do at this stage is we'll just plug along the sort of every second day posting that we're doing for now, and then we'll basically, Sam, you just sing out if you need it. Well, I'm going to assume you're going to upload them to YouTube. You got access to every. If you've got any issues, or if you've got issues or questions, just let me know. Yeah.
Sure. No
Cool.
worries.
That'd be the best.
Yeah, I think we just need to kind of have a chat to him to see where that guy, like Pete's head is at, because he might have like a different kind of way of going about things. Because he's obviously done like, I think 7 different advertisements for companies. So
yeah. So, but my way of thinking is if it's like anything else, you've paid for something, right? You've paid for it. You've paid for this. You own it. It's your asset now. But it's a little bit like, we've had a couple of appearances on Ticker TV, right, where we actually pay for the video, but when we share it out, there's an element of, well, actually, in fact, we're sharing out. Ticker TV is not that big, and we've got an audience and a following that sort of, you know what I mean. So once you own something, you own it, right? So, but the similarity is, I have to pay a few $100 to get the video, which is quite high quality because it's a TV type video, but we own it, so we can share and use it however we like, whether it's on the website or on the socials. But as you said, because of their experience, what the questions to ask them is, look, we're going to use it on our social media, on our website, or on our marketing, but we just want to make sure, how do we best get, tie in with what you would normally do in terms of your processes, because we know that, you guys are the experts in getting out to your much bigger audience than we currently have, right? We have to pay for whereas I know that you guys, as I said, so I think it's as simple as you said. What would you recommend for us in terms of getting,
and like if anyone knows how to market to the target market, it's them.
These guys, right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, awesome.
Okay.
All right. Well, nice to meet you, Sam. And,
nice to meet you as well.
And Joe, you're not looking too weary given your multiple hats.
Oh, this is going on as well.
What?
Yeah.
What the heck? I just thought you had a bit of COVID weight going on, and I didn't say anything. No, I didn't really. I wouldn't have even noticed. Jeepers. Ah, you just said George has been away. Is everything okay?
This happened before George left.
Good. Oh, do you know? And are you letting anybody know gender?
No, I'll go for a surprise.
A surprise, awesome.
Yeah, the doctor knows, but we don't.
The doctor does know, right? Oh, very good.
Oh, so you're surprising yourself.
That's so good. So a COVID baby. How many COVID babies? I reckon it's that sort of make or break year for everybody, right? So clearly for you, it's a make and baby another year. Yeah.
Oh, I just feel like 2021 is going to be exhausting.
Yeah.
But we're going to start off the year with these videos.
I think that's the thing. I mean, realistically, whether it's making babies or making progress in businesses, I think the ones that have kept working and working hard, they're the ones. And let's face it, a lot of businesses haven't even had that choice. So the fact that you've been able to do it, and it's good. And the industries that you've got exposure to, really, I imagine. Well, not I imagine. I know that they're the industries that have just been able to keep going, right? So you're very lucky. So
the only other thing on the timing of things, which Like my January just looks like an absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
So I don't want to do these videos, then get all of these phone calls and everything else, and then not be able to support it on the other side.
Yeah, you've got to be mindful of your what do they call it? Your capacity to fulfill. Yeah. I think that's something again. I've never seen it yet. We're spending $5, oh well, even in $10 a day, you're going to get necessarily smashed. But I think it's more likely the fact the combination of all. It is something you're just going to have to sort of see. I reckon.
Yeah.
It would. Dare I say it? Yeah. It would. You're either going to have to put them out there, and the timing is going to be. Yeah, you might. I don't know how you'd rein it in. That would be the only thing if it did go like the clappers. So, how you rein that in?
The last video of the 4, the call to action is to go to the App Store, buy an app that we never talk to the client for. So like that one is an easy one. The one that's the others are they have to call us and then buy it. Like it's a bit of a more of a mindset thing.
Yeah, but wouldn't you just but that's where you got to, even in your posting though, if the call to action's got to be learn more, go to website, then they will go to the website first before they call you. They're going to look at it and investigate, aren't they? So I think
nasty. Like I'm going to be an intern for 3 weeks.
Right.
And then we've got to do a tender for a contract for Mongolia, which is 4 weeks prep work. So the combination of the two is going to be very hectic.
Right. Yeah, but at the same time, I guess it is also been doing it at a time when it is that holiday period. So realistically, I think it'll be a good sort of bedding down. You will, as you said, at least you'll be able to find out, is it going to go like the clappers? I doubt it. I doubt it's going to. It would be unusual for you all of a sudden to have, a dozen phone calls in a day, but they do have 100,000 people with your exact target audience, right? And if you're doing the ads on just as well, and look, if you were really concerned about that, then maybe you fall back to that idea of we don't do it till February.
Yeah. Well, we can try, and we can always bring back the advertising and then boost the advertising later.
Well, true. Yeah. Well, that's there. But
I guess the benefit is that we have 4 videos, so I think, like you guys said, we can just kind of post the first one and see how it does, and then if it goes absolutely crazy, then
my best bet, as you said, you can either turn them off, the ads. You could always turn them off. That's the other thing. You can turn it down. You can turn off. So there's always options, really. Yeah. All right.
Awesome. Well, have a good Christmas, Steve. If we don't see you.
I will.